Hi, this is New Time on Silkway TV channel. We introduce you with the most visible news and important events that happened throughout this week in Kazakhstan and Central Asia. More details on politics, economy, social and cultural life, with opinions from the most recognizable experts of Kazakhstan and world. I'm Daurian Sagulov, and this is what you'll see today. The week of official visits. What did Kassym-Jomart Tokayev discuss with the presidents of Kyrgyzstan and Armenia? Potential in nuclear energy sector. Is it safe to construct nuclear power plant in Kazakhstan? The exclusive interview of the Director General of World Nuclear Association. Forbes 30 under 30, the story of woman out of the box. Let us start from official agenda. Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan will increase the volumes of mutual trade turnover to $2 billion annually, said Kassym-Jomart Tokayev during closed-door talks with the president of Kyrgyzstan. These days, Sadir Japarov paid the official visit to Kazakhstan. During the meeting, two leaders of the two countries discussed cooperation issues in trade, economic, logistical, political and energy spheres. The parties also agreed to expand cultural ties. The head of state emphasized that the visit of the president of Kyrgyzstan is of particular importance for both sides.
Today we are signing a historic document, the Treaty on Deepening and Expanding Allied Relations, which will give a new impetus to the development of Kazakh-Kyrgyz relations. Our bilateral trade and economic cooperation is strengthening every year. Last year, mutual trade turnover reached $1.5 billion and increased by 26%. We aim to increase this indicator to $2 billion. In this direction, a number of promising projects are also being implemented. Overall, agreements in the trade and economic sphere are being fulfilled.
Kassym-Jomart Tokayev thanked his colleague for the humanitarian aid provided to the victims during the floods in Kazakhstan. In turn, Sadir Japarov expressed gratitude for the hospitality. He also noted the importance of further deepening partnership across a wide range of areas.
Kazakhstan is our close partner, fraternal nation and one of the major trade partners. Kazakhstan is a priority in our foreign policy. There are no political or regional disputes between our countries. Since the first days of my presidency, you have constantly supported me in international structures and issues related to the expansion of the Kazakh-Kyrgyz relations. We are ready to provide all possible assistance to the fraternal Kazakh people in flood relief efforts. Our countries enjoy centuries-long friendship, fraternity, good neighborly relations, common culture, spirituality and religion. I am confident that our mutual cooperation, strategic partnership will strengthen further.
Kazakhstan and Kyrgyz Republic share multifaceted alliance marked by comprehensive bilateral cooperation. As experts note, integration aspects in Central Asia are a top priority in dialogue between President Tokayev and Kyrgyz leader Sadir Japarov. Moreover, according to scientific supervisor at the Center of Analytical Research Eurasian Monitoring, Taisia Marmontova, President Japarov's official visit to Astana opens pathways for even stronger collaboration between the two states.
Kyrgyz Republic is one of our close partners. We're neighboring Turkic-speaking countries. This proximity offers numerous opportunities for political cooperation. Historically, culturally and economically, we have maintained close ties. President Japarov's visit presents opportunities to strengthen cooperation and lay the groundwork for future strategic partnership between our nations.
And let's move on. Kazakhstan is ready to provide a platform for negotiations and the settlement of relations between Azerbaijan and Armenia, stated Kassym-Jomart Tokayev in Yerevan. This week, the head of state visited the capital of Armenia for the first time with an official visit. During the meeting with Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan, the parties not only agreed to collaborate towards achieving peace in the region, but also discussed crucial matters of trade and economic cooperation. More details you'll find in our next report right now. Despite more than 30 years of diplomatic cooperation and participation in common integration associations, this is the first official visit of Kazakh president to Armenia since 2001. Kassym-Jomart Tokayev named it symbolic that his visit coincides with the 25th anniversary of the signing of the Friendship and Cooperation Treaty. While friendship is underscored by the warm official reception from the Armenian side, cooperation matters are the main aspect of the expanded negotiations. The president emphasized that regardless of the complex transport logistics between Armenia and Kazakhstan, bilateral trade turnover has increased by 3.5 times over the last 5 years. In the near future, Kazakhstan plans to increase exports of 70 types of goods, with deals totaling $350 million. During the negotiations, the parties also discussed matters of investment and cultural humanitarian cooperation.
We fully support the initiative to elevate Kazakh-Armenian interaction to a new level. We hold deep respect for the ancient history, culture and traditions of the Armenian people. Over the past quarter century, solid foundations have been laid for bilateral relations, with active development in political dialogue and established connections between governments and parliaments.
Your visit holds great significance. I can say that during our contacts we have already touched upon a wide range of issues. This includes deepening economic and political cooperation, expanding regional interaction. I want to emphasize that we also pay attention to the cultural and humanitarian sphere. This year, Days of Armenian Culture will take place in Kazakhstan, and next year, Days of Kazakh Culture will be held in Armenia. Overall, our agenda is quite rich and diverse.
Following the negotiations, the parties signed a joint statement and 10 cooperation documents. In particular, one of them, a roadmap for trade and economic cooperation, is aimed at increasing trade turnover and freight transportation between the countries.
Last year, freight transportation between the countries reached 7,000 tons. We plan to increase this figure. For example, previously, Kazakh vehicles arriving in Armenia were subject to an environmental tax of $100. However, thanks to our current agreements, this tax is now abolished. Furthermore, once Armenia joins the Ashgabat Agreement, trade turnover and freight transportation will increase.
The most important condition for trade and successful joint projects is undoubtedly stability and security in the region. The head of state highly appreciated the steps taken by Armenia and Azerbaijan towards concluding a peace agreement. In this regard, President Tokayev emphasized Kazakhstan's readiness to assist by providing a platform for negotiations. It is worth noting that Kazakhstan indeed has experience in mediating international conflicts. For example, conducted under UN auspices, the Astana process for peaceful settlement of the Syrian crisis has been actively operating since 2017. Kazakhstan's peaceful and constructive stance on this issue is underscored by the fact that the meeting in Yerevan took place just a month after the head of state's visit to Baku, Azerbaijan.
We have agreed to work together and actively participate in processes aimed at ensuring peace and stability in the upcoming periods. We wholeheartedly welcome Armenia and Azerbaijan aspirations for a peace agreement. As the esteemed Prime Minister has just stated, Kazakhstan is ready to provide full support and take on the mission of goodwill. Our main goal is to bring closer the friendly nations and pave the way for lasting peace and stability in the region.
On the day of the visit, the head of state also held a meeting with the president of Armenia, Vagan Khachaturyan. The Armenian president described the visit as historical and expressed confidence in the further development and strengthening of relations between Kazakhstan and Armenia. Daurian Sagulov, New Time. This week, President Tokayev signed laws amending penalties for violence against women and children. This also includes intentional infliction of light, medium and severe harm to health. The United Nations and the US welcomed this decision. In their opinion, by criminalizing domestic violence, Kazakhstan demonstrates that such behavior is unacceptable. Thus, the legislative decision serves as a vivid example of protecting the interest of women and children in difficult situations and demonstrates the country's progress toward eradicating all forms of gender-based violence.
This is a big step in order to eradicate gender-based violence. It's also a sign that Kazakhstan is committed to human rights and particularly to the protection of women and children. It indicates that Kazakhstan has adopted a zero-tolerance policy when it comes to domestic violence. United Nations stand ready to continue to partner with Kazakhstan and support civil society and everyone else in the country to make sure that this zero-tolerance policy becomes the reality for each and every woman, child, boy and man.
We welcome Kazakhstan's adoption of a new law strengthening protections against domestic violence. The prevalence of domestic violence leaves no country, society, or socio-economic group unscathed. We stand with Kazakh society in saying, domestic violence is a criminal act.
World Nuclear Spotlight Kazakhstan International Seminar took place earlier in Almaty. The event gathered national policymakers, stakeholders and international industry leaders to discuss the development of Kazakhstan's nuclear industry as the country considers starting a civilian nuclear power program. New Time reporters attended the event and prepared a special report.
Delegates of World Nuclear Spotlight Kazakhstan exchanged views on the specific Kazakhstan requirements for deployment of nuclear power, the global landscape and opportunities for the country in driving forward its nuclear power plans. The experts emphasized the strategic importance of nuclear energy development in the modern world, particularly in the context of combating climate change and transitioning to alternative carbon-free energy sources. However, the primary topic focused on Kazakhstan's nuclear sector and the country's readiness for the construction of its first nuclear power plant, which is the subject to an expected referendum this year.
The spotlights where we discussed the situation with the nuclear market, with the development of nuclear power, especially in Kazakhstan, of course. We discussed several problems that we have and discussed the future of the country with and without nuclear power. And in principle, of course, we believe that referendum will be positive and people will support development of nuclear power in Kazakhstan because we have to fulfill our commitments on zero, achieving of net zero to 2060. Yeah.
Seminar participants also affirmed that global electricity demand is expected to double in a quarter century. They noted that alternative energy sources will not be able to fully meet this demand. Therefore, seminar delegates pointed out the importance of advancing nuclear technologies at present.
Kazakhstan has opted for pressurized water reactors out of 440 operational nuclear stations. Over 200 are pressurized water reactors. These nuclear power plants have not experienced any accidents. While I am certainly an advocate for green technologies, they cannot replace nuclear power plants because a nuclear station can generate energy 24/7, which renewable energy sources cannot accomplish.
Experts also emphasize that the development of nuclear energy will have a positive impact on improving the environment by reducing coal emissions in the mining sector. The construction site for a massive power station in Kazakhstan has been selected in the city on the shores of Lake Balkhash. 5 countries have submitted applications for its construction, with proposals currently under review. However, the decision on building the nuclear power plant will only be known after a nationwide referendum.
We are eagerly awaiting the referendum. The reactors that will be built are next generation. They are not 3 Mile Island, they are not Fukushima. These are reactors of an advanced safety system generation. At this seminar, the entire nuclear community has gathered in Almaty to say green light to Kazakhstan because it is ready to build its own nuclear power plant. This was once more confirmed by international experts.
Notably, such seminars of this caliber are held in countries considering the establishment of their own nuclear energy infrastructure, allowing for an informed decision regarding its development. The participation of international players in the nuclear industry demonstrates the global community's interest in Kazakhstan's experience and prospects in this field. Baljan Samigulna, Nauruz Bazarov, Ilyas Tulkabay, New Time.
Kazakhstan stands in good position in nuclear development, as it follows from pragmatic nuclear power program of Kazakhstan aimed to achieve net zero emissions by 2060, said the Director General of World Nuclear Association, Dr. Sama Bilbao Ileon, in an exclusive interview to New Time reporter Baljan Samigulina on the sidelines of the World Nuclear Spotlight Kazakhstan event in Almaty. Dr. Bilbao also emphasized that the success of the nuclear power plan of the country hinges on public support in the upcoming referendum. How have nuclear technologies developed since accidents in 3 Mile Island, Fukushima and Chernobyl, according to WNA data? Is it safe to construct nuclear power plant in Kazakhstan? What is the future of nuclear energy in the context of the global green transition? To find out, please watch the fragment of the interview with Dr. Bilbao right now.
Dr. Bilbao, thank you for having us. Kazakhstan is considering to construct the first ever nuclear power plant in the country. So how do you assess the country's ambition as the Director General of World Nuclear Association, please?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. And of course, the first thing, of course, is the referendum. So the people of Kazakhstan needs to agree that, in fact, they want to move forward with our nuclear power plant. But if that is a positive result, I think Kazakhstan is in a very good position to be very successful in this program because, first of all, Kazakhstan has already had nuclear power in the past. And second of all, currently with the Kazatomprom and the uranium mining industry, plus all the additional supply chain and all these other industry related to nuclear that already exist in Kazakhstan, I think there are very, very good opportunities for Kazakhstan to be very successful.
In the light of construction of first ever nuclear power plant in Kazakhstan, there is an active discussion between the society and also the experts. And we have had accidents worldwide in the US, Japan, and Russia. In this regard, can you say that the technologies for construction of the nuclear power plants has advanced since then, so that we can say that it's safe to construct such power plant in our country right now?
Well, nuclear power plant is currently the safest way to produce electricity, and this is despite those events that you have mentioned. But the reality is that right now, as we are looking at the three very important things that most countries are looking at. Number one, decarbonization. Number two, energy security and energy independence. And number three, equity and access. In other words, making sure that the average person in every country has access to affordable, abundant, clean, 24/7 energy. When you put all those things together, nuclear energy does bubble up as one of the very good choices. And this is what we are seeing, that many, many countries in the world, all over the world, are actually, number one, recognizing the very important role that nuclear energy has today and has had for the last 50 plus years. As you know, nuclear energy is today the second largest source of clean energy, only behind hydropower. And so that's very important. And then all these countries are also looking at new nuclear projects. So I think that the future is quite bright, and clearly the technology, these 50 years of a lot of work and improvement and lessons learned and collaboration internationally is making nuclear energy a very, very good choice for many countries.
Can we say that the world is increasingly short of clean sources?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, so as you know, we have this Paris Agreement by which we really need to meet net zero goals by 2050. And today we are very, very, very far away from meeting those goals. So we need much more clean energy sources in general.
In this regard, what solutions can Kazakhstan offer?
Well, Kazakhstan, I think that according to your energy plan that we were discussing yesterday with very many people from the energy department, I mean, we had the vice minister here mentioning your plan, Kazakhstan is planning to reach net zero by 2060, which is still very ambitious, particularly taking into account that Kazakhstan is a very, very industrialized country. You have a lot of natural resources, a lot of mining, a lot of industry, metallurgy. So clearly, I think it's the plan that the government has put forward that does include nuclear, of course, if the country agrees after the referendum. It's a pragmatic plan, it's a realistic plan, because sometimes we see that some countries have goals, but then there is no actual plan that actually is going to take us to achieve the goals. So in the case of Kazakhstan, it looks like there is a little bit of pragmatism that has been injected into this plan.
The World Nuclear Association supports the activities of World Nuclear University. Other Kazakh students involved in the educational programs?
Yeah, so World Nuclear University is one of the activities that we do. The main role of this activity is to inspire and to lead and develop the next generation of nuclear leaders. And one of the things that we do that is very important for the nuclear industry is what we call the Summer Institute. So we have had, right now we have over 1,200 fellows that have participated in Summer Institute years for the last 18 or so years. And several of those, I don't actually know the number, but several of those are actually from Kazakhstan.
To conclude our interview, let me ask the last question. How do you envision the future of nuclear energy in the context of green transition?
I think it is a very positive outlook for nuclear. As you know, already in COP28, we had 199 countries that in the global stocktake highlighted how nuclear energy was one of the technologies that needed to be accelerated if we want to reach the Paris Agreement goals. And in particular, there were 25 countries that actually committed to reaching 3 times nuclear capacity by 2050. So this is an ambitious goal. It's going to take a lot of effort from governments, but also from the nuclear industry. But I think that given the size and the urgency of the climate change challenge, I really think that we need to raise our ambitions and do our best to get there.
Thank you for having us. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
It's my pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
More than 1 million tourists visited Kazakhstan in 2023, reported the Kazakh Ministry of Tourism and Sports. According to official data, in 2023, the country saw a 17% increase in the number of foreign tourists compared to the previous year. In 2022, only 928,000 foreigners visited the country. The number of domestic tourists in Kazakhstan also increased. Compared to 2022, their number grew by 647,000, reaching 7.5 million people. The majority of tourists chose Almaty for their travels. In total, in 2023, the city was visited by over 2 million tourists, including 540,000 foreigners. The ministry also noted that last year Kazakhstan attracted a record number of tourists from China and India. For example, the number of Chinese visitors increased 12 times, from 18,000 in 2022 to more than 200,000 in 2023. It is obvious that the increase in the number of tourists from China would have been impossible without the introduction of a visa-free regime. Since June 2022, Chinese tourists have been allowed to enter Kazakhstan without a visa for 14 days. And since last year, a mutual visa-free regime expanded the possibilities of free visits for citizens of both countries to 30 days. According to the chairman of Kazakh Tourism National Company, Kairat Sadvakasov, by the end of the 2024, Kazakhstan expects a rise in the number of tourists from China to have 1 million visitors. Partially, it will be possible due to the events and initiatives within the framework of the declared Year of Kazakh Tourism in China. Please watch the fragment of the interview right now. Kairat Serekovich, thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you here. So, this year has been declared as a Year of Tourism of Kazakhstan in China. Could you please tell us what this concept entails and what aims do we hope to achieve? What are the results?
The president of our country announced this as the year of Kazakh tourism in the People's Republic of China, and the main idea behind this is to increase awareness with potential Chinese tourists about Kazakhstan, about our tourism opportunities. So we went there for the opening, we launched the year, and throughout the year we'll have 35 plus different events in order to increase the awareness and promote our tourism opportunities.
Is it true that China is going to produce a movie about tourist destinations of Kazakhstan? Could you tell us more about it?
That is true. One of the national TV channels, CCTV4, is coming this month in order to shoot 3 films of 30 minutes each about tourism potential of Kazakhstan, traveling from Almaty, then to the south of the country, to Shymkent, to Turkestan, and then to Astana, in order to capture everything that is available in this point in time, such as blossoming of tulips, poppies, and basically opening the tourism season in Turkestan and Almaty.
China and Kazakhstan has a visa-free regime since November of last year. Can we already draw any results of this agreement? Maybe, how to say, what impact has it had on the tourist industry of China, of Kazakhstan?
Since the visa-free was introduced not that long ago, it is a little bit too premature to draw results. However, we already see a spike of tourism arrivals from that market. As of end of 2023, we saw almost 400,000 people arriving to Kazakhstan, and we hope to increase this number to 500,000 by end of 2024 as a result of our efforts during the Kazakhstan's tourism in China.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Kazakhstan has reported on investment activities for the first quarter of 2024. Since the beginning of the year, the Investment Committee of the MFA has concluded 29 contracts amounting to $972 million. Among them, 12 contracts were concluded in the manufacturing industry, 6 contracts in the transportation sector, while the rest were divided among sectors such as arts and entertainment, healthcare and electricity supply. The majority of investment contracts were signed in Almaty, 16 contracts. In terms of international investment cooperation, participants include countries such as Russia, the Netherlands and Cyprus. And let us conclude with an inspiring story. Moldersun Shale, a participant in the Forbes 30 Under 30 list for 2021, intends to expand her construction company to the United Arab Emirates. Having already completed 2 projects in Kazakh cities, the entrepreneur encouraged other women to pursue their passions regardless of gender stereotypes. Let us remind you that this ranking highlights young talented professionals from Kazakhstan from various fields. For more details, please watch New Time report.
At the age of 18, Moldersun Shale decided to venture into the construction industry after her first visit to Astana, where she witnessed the vibrant real estate market. That's when she resolved to challenge stereotypes and motivate others to follow suit, discovering her purpose in the process.
I pursue what I love. My main goal is to be useful to my people and country, inspiring the future generation to erase the boundaries between male and female spheres. I believe that all fields are attainable if your soul desires it.
The construction company led by Moldersun Shale has already successfully finished a project in Kazakhstan capital, a private cottage village. Another project, tourist apartments in one of Kazakhstan's resort towns, is close to completion. Her plans involve multiple projects in other Kazakh cities and entering the real estate market in the United Arab Emirates.
For the past 2 years, we've been in negotiations with the United Arab Emirates and plan to enter this market. Currently, we are developing the project. My partners are local residents of the United Arab Emirates who have invited me to join their company and are investors in this project. I believe that in the near future I will be able to share the results.
But Turhan Togaybayev, editor of Forbes 30 Under 30 list, explains the selection of Molder for her exceptional professional journey and unwavering contribution to society.
Everyone's saying that working in developing industry in Kazakhstan, is only for men.
only for the big guys with a lot of money. But this is such a different story with a very different way of storytelling. So she made it by herself, without anyone, without anyone involving here. So that's why she's here in our list.
When I made it onto the Forbes list, I was in my 7th month of pregnancy. My photo stands out from all other participants because I'm pregnant, but I always joke that my son, even in the womb, was already in Forbes.
In addition to her business activities, Mulder is also involved in charity work. Through her funds, a preschool will be opened in one of the cities in Kazakhstan. This essentially is the essence of the ranking, to showcase the talents of Kazakh youth who bring benefit to society and reflect the ongoing changes in the world. Baljan Samigolina, Almat Mendabayev, New Time.
That's it for today. All the main news about Kazakhstan and Central Asia you can find here. More special projects about our country you can also watch on Silkway TV channel. So stay tuned and see you next week.